what up, YouTube, man? It's your boy MUSICLEE, and I'm back, man. Someone has requested no one other than Chris B, one of the goats of the subscribers, man. Big shout out to you, man. Appreciate it, man. Told me to jump on this. I'm probably gonna know a lot about it. I'm quite a geek when it comes to universe and all that, but like as I said, always can be educated in some way or another. But yeah, you know what time it is. These sounds of the dot, man. Let's get it.
Is Earth. You live here on this planet somewhere, and everything that you've ever known is located right here. But just how small exactly is Earth when compared to the
gases
scale
and
of the
that?
entire
All the gases, man. The dust.
Universe. Let's start by zooming out to where we can see our nearest cosmic neighbor, the Moon. You may think that the Moon is very close to Earth since it dominates our night skies, but in reality the Moon isn't this close to our planet, it's actually about this far away. 384,400 kilometers away from you right now on average. You could fit 30 entire Earths in between this distance, and if you somehow were able to drive a car at a constant 100 kilometers per hour speed, it would take you about 160 days to drive the entire distance. Despite this incredible distance, however, 12 humans have actually set foot here, representing the furthest away that any individual human has ever been away from the Earth, and one of humanity's greatest achievements. This is what the Earth would look like from there if you were standing there with them,
Look
and
at
if
that.
you wanted to communicate.
Look at that, man. That is like, I know people would think, oh man, look at it, man. It's a thing of beauty, man.
With somebody back at home, it would take a message about 2.5 seconds to travel between you and them, since that's how fast the speed of light can travel at. This is a photo that was taken on Mars, and that tiny dot that you see there is Earth as seen from the Martian surface.
That is sick.
On average, Mars is an incredible 225 million kilometers away from.
I know Mars is a certain time when it orbits in its orbit in the Earth that the distance to get there goes down to 5 months. Otherwise, I think if it goes further away, it takes longer.
Earth, but that distance can be as high as 401 million kilometers. That means that whenever humanity finally gets around to landing a human on the planet, that person will be 986 times further away from Earth than the astronauts who landed on the Moon were. In addition, the time delay for sending a message from Mars back to Earth isn't just 2.5 seconds, it's actually more like 20 minutes each direction, which would render instant communication in the event of an emergency impossible. When we zoom out even further away, we can find the Voyager 1 space probe, which is a...
Isn't it mad? Like, it's like, people don't realise this is... I say it to everyone, man. I probably sound like a proper nerd, but like, when you see like a shooting star or a light in the sky, that ain't a spaceship or anything like an aeroplane, that light could have taken up to 13.9 billion years to reach us. That light that's how old that light is, man. It's crazy to think. And people are like, no, I'm like, yeah, if you see like a shooting light or something, it could have taken that long to get to us. It's crazy, man.
The furthest away man-made object from Earth. It is currently located 138 AUs from the Earth. AU meaning astronomical unit, which is...
Yeah, I know Voyager 2 and 1 have gone outside their fucking 45 years or something. They've gone in, they're outside the it's hard to explain when you're not that brainy to use them words, but it's gone outside the fucking known area of our universe.
The distance between the Earth and the Sun, which means that Voyager 1 is 138 times further away from us than the Sun is. At some point on its long voyage, Voyager 1 turned its camera around and took this photograph. It may not look like much at first, but in my opinion, this is the greatest single photograph ever taken in all of human history. This tiny, pale blue dot is Earth, and I don't think that anybody has ever said something as amazing about this as Carl Sagan when he said, "If you look at it, you see a dot. That's here. That's home. That's us. On it, everyone you ever heard of, every human being who ever lived out their lives. The aggregate of all our joys and sufferings, thousands of confident religions, ideologies, and economic doctrines. Every hunter and every forager, every hero and coward, every creator and destroyer of civilizations, every king and every peasant, every young couple in love, every hopeful child."
Hi, my name is Alina, and I would like you to give you a few reasons why you should consider dating a young...
Every mother...
I won't be able to put it up, but go and watch the time lapse of the universe, man. That's I sat and watched that, man, and it goes trillions and trillions of years in front, and it just tells you things are gonna happen, man. It's crazy, man. What they predict with all the gases and the stars, because stars will run out eventually. Like the sun is actually a star, and it will run out of energy. Not in our lifetime. You'll never see that in a human lifetime.
And every father, every inventor and explorer, every teacher of morals, every corrupt politician, every superstar, every supreme leader, every saint and sinner in the history of our species lived there, on a mote of dust suspended in a sunbeam. Voyager 1 is currently traveling at 17 kilometers every single second, but even at that speed, it won't break out of the reach of our solar system for another 30,000 years. Once we go beyond the solar system, we arrive in our interstellar neighborhood.
I think I was trying to explain our Milky Way. I think that's what it was. It's only just got to the edge of the Milky Way, and then that was what I think I was trying to explain.
Good. Here we shift to the light year unit of measurement, which is the distance that light travels in a full Earth year, or about 9.461 trillion kilometers. The star Proxima Centauri here is the closest other star to us other than our sun, but it's still...
That's the one with Proxima, I think there's one with a Proxima B around it or something, that they think they found LED lights on. Because one side of it, it's got a fixed axis sort of thing, it never rotates. So one side always stays away from the sun, so it's always dark. And they think that maybe they would use, if they think they've LED lights, but they don't know. And apparently they're building another telescope that's going to cost 18 billion to go up to do the better job, but the James Webb's doing now. Man, that James Webb's sick, that telescope, bro.
Still 4.24 light years away from us. To put that into perspective, if it was heading in the right direction, it would still take Voyager 1 over 70,000 years to reach it. In other words, if you drove your car at 100 kilometers an hour like in our previous example to the moon, it would take over 6 times longer than the entire age of the universe is just to finally get there, and it wouldn't even exist still when you arrived. When we zoom out even further, we can see the entire Milky Way galaxy, inside of which Earth is located right here. This yellow dot is the furthest extent of humanity's radio broadcasts throughout history, which means that any possible aliens who live...
And there's trillions of galaxies, Milky Ways. There's got to be other things out there, man. I don't think we ever will, man.
Outside of this range are totally unaware of humanity's presence. It's complete silence outside of this yellow dot as far as we are currently aware.
Sometimes it gets me a bit makes me think like, man, shit, like, you just think, like, you pretty much nothing in nothing, like, it's hard to grasp sometimes, isn't it? Like, you're just this thing, a rock floating in nothingness. Well, it's not nothingness, but you know what I'm saying, and you're in that nothing, in that little rock. I think it was, I don't, as much as I believe that there are other things out there, I always do believe that it was like a miracle, but I don't like to use the word miracle, but it was like an accident that all these things came together to create something, and evolution just...
But the entire galaxy spans over 100,000 light years from end to end. There are over 100 billion stars and over 100 billion planets inside of our galaxy. But you have never seen the full glory of the galaxy at night, because 99% of the stars that you can see with the naked eye are limited to this small, tiny region right here. But even this massive galaxy is nothing compared to the rest of what's out there. Zooming out even further and we arrive at the local group of galaxies, a collection of 54 different galaxies that is about 10 million light years across. But zooming out even further and we can see the Virgo supercluster, of which the local group here is just a tiny segment of. There are at least 100 other groups of galaxies just like our own local group inside of here, and the distance from one side to the other is a mind-numbing 110 million light years. But even the massive Virgo supercluster is nothing but a quiet and tiny lobe of the Great Laniakea supercluster, an enormous structure that is home to our galaxy as well as 100,000 other galaxies. The distance from one side to the other is 520 million light years.
I've seen this before, but in a different way, the way they did it, but seeing it in this way, man, Chris, it does hit you a bit differently, man. It is crazy, man. It's crazy, like. I got no answer, like. Just to see that is just phenomenal, isn't it, man? You just think like you're like a speck of, like a grain of sand in a factory, like that small, like in a massive warehouse, that small, like full to the brim.
Years. But from even there, we can zoom out all the way to the entire observable universe and see that even the titanic Laniakea supercluster is.
And you're not that thing there, you're not that thing in there, you're not that thing in there, you're about 10 things in there. Like, you're not that.
Just a tiny and insignificant part of everything. This is the observable universe, and it contains everything that we know of. It is home to at least 2 trillion different and individual galaxies, which together contain more stars than there are grains of sand on the entire Earth.
Man, no
the distance
way.
from Earth to any
I just said that, man. I just said that.
side of the observable universe is 46.5 billion light years, which means that the entire width is 93 billion light years across. What's perhaps even more interesting, however, is what actually lies beyond the observable universe. Keep in mind that the observable...
I don't think you'll never know, man. You'll never know. This wasn't supposed to happen us. It just did. We're not supposed to...
universe is all that we can currently see, and it's entirely possible that the rest of the universe outside of it is vastly larger and more fantastic than we can possibly ever imagine. We simply don't know what else is out there because the light from these incredibly distant places has not yet had enough time in the universe's history to reach us yet back on Earth, and the light from some places may never reach us at all. Because some parts of space very far away from Earth are expanding away from us faster than the speed of light, that means that the light from these places will never, in an infinite amount of time, reach Earth. Meaning that even if humanity is eternal and exists forever, there will still be an unknown number of places in the universe that we will never know about or ever see.
I didn't have to say that. I just, oh, come on, man.
So, it is very likely that as unbelievably enormous as it seems, the observable universe is just a tiny slice of what we can...
So you're trying to look for life, what we can only see is probably like not even 0.001% of what's actually out there. So what's the chances we're finding life? Because most of it we're never going to see, and I'm talking about a massive fraction you're never going to see.
Can currently see of the entire universe. According to the theory of cosmic inflation that was proposed by Dr. Alan Guth, if it is assumed that cosmic inflation began at 10 to the negative 37th of a second after the Big Bang, and with the assumption that the size of the universe before inflation began was equal to its age times the speed of light, then this would seem to suggest that at the present day, the entire universe is 150 sextillion times larger than the observable universe. That number for reference looks like this, with this many zeros. Let this number
my bank account looks like, hopefully one day.
Sink in for just a moment. This would be similar to you thinking that the entire observable universe, everything that you could see, was the size of a light bulb, but then realizing that in reality the entire universe is larger than the former planet of Pluto. Imagine a light bulb in the center of Pluto, but we inside the light bulb were totally unaware that Pluto existed outside of it.
Wow.
And that's a similar situation to this. We are all so unbelievably small, but you shouldn't worry.
That's what I was trying to say. We're so small. It's like we never probably find life because you just nothing to the rest of it.
Because all that means is that there is so much left out there for us to discover together.
Let's go. Yeah, man. Sweet for that, Chris, man. That was some good shit, man. Like I said, this is what I constantly look at, and I always watch programs like this just to try and make my own sort of assumptions of what I think and that. But it's crazy to see how it's putting that perspective, man. That was a sick video, man. Please subscribe. If you want to see some more, man, leave some comments in the bottom or send me some videos and I'll do them, man.